Today we're going to be talking about artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence are basically computer systems that are capable of making human-like decisions. So today, as we talk about this, inshallah we'll give you guys a rundown on everything you need to know about AI.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين وأما بعد. Respected brothers and sisters, friends, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Like Sayyid Muhammad Rada introduced, the title of the subject of what we're going to be discussing today. We're going to be talking about artificial intelligence, and inshallah he will give you a breakdown of how we're going to do that. However, I believe that this topic is an extremely important topic because today we are surrounded by things and we are doing things and making decisions and acting in specific ways in which are all influenced by artificial intelligence. And the way that artificial intelligence is designed is meant not for us to actually realize that we've been influenced by it.
Right.
So it's a very important topic. It's affecting adults, children, everybody.
Right. So what we're going to do today is we're going to go over a few main points. First, we're going to define artificial intelligence and then talk about what AI is. Then we're going to talk about how AI can help us, the positive effects of AI. Then we'll talk about the dangers of AI. If it goes unregulated, what can happen? We'll talk about the theory of certain philosophers and certain scientists right now that are saying, humans are going to start to defy death. They'll start to hack themselves and engineer themselves in a way that they're going to basically evolve into something that's more than human. And then in the end, we'll talk about the Islamic perspective on artificial intelligence. So just to define what AI is, again, it's basically computer systems that are designed to make human decisions, like translating languages or recognizing speech, like Siri. Facial recognition. So when you go on your phone and it's able to have an album for each member of your family based on their face. It scans their face and generates profiles for them. And so on and so forth. These things are basically computations that usually require human intellect. But now we're seeing that artificial intelligence is doing that for us. Let's talk about what AI is even.
Well, like you said, AI is, to basically put it into simple words, it's the computers, machinery,
right,
doing the work that is usually done by human beings. For example, anything from, like you said, translating to facial recognition. Those are things that computers are doing today, and everybody's familiar with that. But for example, if a robot ends up making coffee for every member of your family, according to their desire or according to what they require in their coffee or what they want in their coffee, that's also something that artificial intelligence can do.
Right.
If for example, imagine if you have a robot that can go inside your room and organize your closet just like the way you like for it to be. Today we have, for example, cars that are driving themselves.
Right.
We have robots or drones delivering goods and services. Literally doing services at hospitals just like any other human being would do.
Right.
So basically it is, in a way, computers taking over the tasks of human beings. Also serving them and serving their needs. However, I think throughout the discussion it'll be known that this is a process that's been developing. It's not a process that's that's stagnant, that stops in one certain point. And it's been evolving. It's been getting better. It's been getting enhanced. And one area that it's gone enhanced and it's gone developed is teaching those machines how to think and becoming better at what they do. Though those machines do not have emotions, soon enough they will be able to develop skills or react in certain ways or do certain things that it would be as if they did have emotions.
Right.
Some people are even suggesting that with the help of the machinery, with the help of AI, and the development of the science, humans will be able to turn themselves into like half cyborgs.
Yeah, cyborg. Yeah.
And literally be able to not be just human beings anymore in terms of what they can do, how long they can live, things they can do. So it's a very interesting field. Obviously, I'm not an expert on the field.
Right.
But it is, it's a topic that needs to be discussed, and we also need to know the Islamic stance from this particular thing.
Yeah. Talking about all that, what I picked up is, there's good and there's obviously opportunities for bad when it comes to AI. So what can AI help us with in terms of positive things currently? I know maybe in the healthcare field there's options, teaching, learning, things of that nature. What else is there that AI can help us with currently, like in a positive manner?
Look, I mean, AI can help us to collect information and data and become smarter, that's for sure. So, for example, 90% of the data that humans have today has been collected in the past few years.
Right.
So it really does tremendous work in terms of human development. You see, for example, when there was the Industrial Revolution, it changed the lives of many people. Millions of people lost their jobs. Millions of people had to change their ways. Millions of people had to change the way they live. And it, in the end of the day, served humanity, served human beings in many different ways.
Right.
AI is the same, where if we're using it to develop information, if we're using it to become better human beings, if we're using it to develop world peace, for example, if we use it in order to have a happier, more successful society, that is wonderful.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are doing that. It is used in that particular way today as well. We as the Muslim community as well, we are really we've neglected this for a very long time, and I believe that we are continuing to neglect it, overlook it, not use it to our advantage, we don't even know its importance, I think, in developing and strengthening our community. And that is something that we need to reconsider, and that's part of my discussion today. It's not, our discussion is really not about whether it is haram or halal. Just like the internet, is the internet halal or haram? You can't really ask that question. It depends on what you use it for and how it's used.
Right.
In itself, it's neither halal or haram.
Right.
So, hypothetically, we are a politically inactive community. We're not really politically involved, unfortunately. We're not motivated to be politically involved. However, with the help of artificial intelligence, we would be able to determine those who are politically motivated and driven in our communities, and be able to connect with them, be able to make sure that, we have filtered the right people, and now we know them. Now we can, start working with them,
right,
in order to get them politically involved. Let's say, we want to find those who are more charitable than others, who are wealthy and charitable, not just wealthy. And then, with the help of artificial intelligence, we are able to connect with those members of our community, and we are able to then create more charities and help more people, or advance our communities.
right.
We are also, I would say, are an active community. We are a healthy community. However, we don't know, how many are, how many members in our community are in professional sports, how many of them are in amateur sports, how many coaches do we have, how many trainers do we have, how many sport fans do we have. Those are things that will really play a role into shaping our community and creating jobs and creating, scenarios where Muslim individuals are becoming successful amongst their communities with the help of the artificial intelligence. Those are all possible. And, it's also possible for us to understand our flaws, what it is that we're doing wrong, how is it that, the things that we're doing, or the way that we act or behave towards our community has driven them away. It's basically the cause of our failure. So we find out and realize what our causes of failure are as a community, and start working towards changing them so that we can achieve effectiveness.
Right. Going back to what you were talking about on kind of learning and teaching, I read something that AI is capable of reading basically all the books in the world, every book, everything that's been authored since the age of Adam, for example, in a few hours, in maybe a day. So then you could even generate algorithms to start and generate an AI that basically authors its own books. Or, for example, if we were able to translate every single one of our works from Arabic to English or any other language, you could do it in a matter of weeks if you develop the right AI with the right funding. So it's something we should definitely not neglect within our community. Talking about the negative effects of AI, though, where it could go wrong, certain people, like, for example, Elon Musk right now, he's developing something called Neuralink, which is basically like a chip that you implant within your body, and it pairs up with your brain, and you could do all types of things just by having this chip inside you, answer calls or send emails or whatever. But let's talk about how that could go wrong and how companies use our data in bad ways,
Yeah, so the dangers of artificial intelligence are way too many. Sometimes I imagine whether life is going to continue with technology, or at a certain point, every person, including me and you, would literally just throw our phones away and say, you know what, we've had enough of this. We just want to be able to live in peace.
Yeah.
And it is possible that things will get out of hand. For example, with artificial intelligence, a lot of countries,
Right.
Especially undemocratic countries, countries that their citizens do not enjoy freedom or freedom of speech, or to even think for themselves freely,
Right.
Will be in danger. Will be in great danger. If for example, the opposition will be clearly known, and AI can point that out to the authorities, and obviously then their lives will be in jeopardy.
Right.
However, if things, if let's say they're not that brutal, what can happen is, and this can even happen in a democratic country where democracy or freedom can literally no longer ever exist. I'll give you an example. The reason why it's called artificial intelligence is because it is meant to think like a human being. It is meant to develop the same solutions that a human being would develop. So what I'm trying to say is, it will get smart enough to determine, to influence me and you on what to do. To a point where it will suggest music to you. It will suggest, let's say you feel depressed, or you feel sad, or you feel whatever it is that you're feeling at that moment. Then artificial intelligence will know you well enough to suggest something that's going to make you happy. And you're going to start developing this attachment. You're going to rely on it to an extent that, some believe that you will literally seek the help of AI in literally every aspect of your life. Now, this could be direct messages to you or subliminal messages to you on who to vote for, what political party to choose, what to believe in, what not to believe in. Ultimately, it could change your mind and your religion, your belief system, and it could create its own religion. It could change the minds of many people who are religious, or vice versa. So at the end of the day, it can. What are its dangers? Number one, it can be misused by companies, by those companies that are controlling us already. The company will know before you get sick that you're going to get sick on this time, and this is your illness, and this is your solution. So let's say you're going to have a stuffy nose in about 3 days, right? Literally hours before, or a day before, or half a day before, it will start telling you, suggesting to you of medication for your stuffy nose. Let's say it's developed, it now understands, and this is already happening, by the way. It will understand that you're trying to take a vacation to this part of the world, this specific part of the world. And very specific, by the way, not just like, Europe or South America. No.
Countries, cities.
Countries and cities specifically. And it will keep on suggesting hotels to you, things to do, restaurants to go. And you will believe that those are the best hotels, those are the best places to go, this is the best diner to eat at during my stay, and this is the best time, this is the best way for me to spend my vacation. You don't question those things. We believe in them, we do them, we don't ever question them. However, is there a possibility that this can be somewhat inaccurate? Of course it can. Can the data be played around with? Absolutely. So we will be controlled by AI. We will be controlled by machines. We will be controlled by computers. Not vice versa. We think that we have developed something that's going to help us, that's going to let us develop, but in the end of the day, it's the other way around. We human beings are being controlled by it. Yes, maybe the elite, maybe the ones that have developed it, maybe the ones that are creating those programs and codes know well enough to avoid those things. But an average person, 99% of people will not. So that's one. Companies controlling every human being and becoming mega giants. In a sense that, they'll be gajillionaires and others will be poor and others will be impoverished. There will not be fair opportunities anymore. Literally, you will end up doing everything that you can, like Amazon today, especially now when we're in the lockdown. You literally buy your tissues all the way to your laptop to whatever you need from Amazon.
Yeah.
And you basically read the reviews, you see what it suggests you trust it, and you use it. And Amazon is getting bigger and bigger and bigger every day. However, imagine how many businesses are now going to go bankrupt.
Definitely.
So that's one, of being completely controlled in a sense of how we spend our money and how we think. Two, like I said, political parties, tyrants, even democratic states will, on the exterior remain democratic, but there will no longer be a democracy. If I am told who to vote for,
right.
If my mindset is influenced, let's say I'm a Republican, and with the help of artificial AI, I change my mind and I become a Democrat.
Right.
That's possible. Very much possible. Especially for average people who don't know much. Or I'm not planning to vote for this particular president, but, it changes my mind and I do. So is this going to still be called a democracy or not? That's something else. And then that's something to discuss. And then you have the, countries that lack freedom, countries that lack democracy,
right.
that obviously will use it against those who oppose them, against those who stand against them, against those who plot against them.
Right.
And obviously that could be something very dangerous. Will the robots take over the world? That's something else. Will we one day wake up and see that the robots are retaliating against human beings and coming into our homes with machine guns to kill us?
They don't have empathy. So.
They die. I don't know. I mean, I don't know about that. I highly doubt that will happen.
It's being weaponized though. AI is starting to become weaponized.
Yeah.
So all those big
Definitely.
armies are starting to generate robots that are basically like killer robots. Something you'd see in a movie, but it's real.
Yeah, absolutely, it's real,
Yeah.
and it will basically find a suspect,
Mm-hmm.
and for example, a couple of days ago when we spoke of China,
Right.
and how it's using facial recognitions to determine the Muslims,
Yeah.
and to send them into the camps.
Yeah.
Well, how is it doing that?
Yeah.
It's using that by
Yeah.
artificial intelligence. It's detecting those individuals correctly, and it's finding them. Now, the second command, all it needs to do is, I'm not saying it's going to do that, and I'm not suggesting anybody is doing that today, but I'm saying technology-wise, we're close enough to then give another command of capture or
detain, eliminate, whatever.
eliminate this
Yeah.
person, and something can just as small as a bug can fly into this person. And
it's like a sci-fi movie now. I'm getting scared.
so, in the end of the day, I think it has pros and cons, but it is getting out of control in a sense that I believe there will be a time, and it is possible that we will literally. I mean, I don't know. I'm just saying it's a possibility that we will literally have to give up on all those technologies because they're going to be overwhelming.
Yeah, I
already feel that way many times, almost many times every single day, where I feel like I wish I could throw my phone away.
Yeah, you ever had your phone die and you don't have it for 5-6 hours and you feel liberated almost? Or you go somewhere where there's no signal, you go to the mountains or something, no phone calls or texts.
Yeah.
It feels wonderful.
Yeah.
We're so dependent, obviously, on our technology. We have to start to separate that from our lives. And obviously, AI needs to be regulated. Governments and coalitions need to step up to regulate it. Just like weapons are regulated, there's war crimes for using certain types of banned weapons. AI needs to be regulated. That way it doesn't just get out of control. There's a theory that certain philosophers are talking about and scientists that they're basically saying, in the next few years, like 50, 60 years, humans are going to evolve into another species, basically by being able to bioengineer themselves, putting a chip in themselves to start computing data quicker, or taking their eye out and placing a cyber engineered eye to start tracking things, or using an arm that's much stronger than your natural arm. Or maybe you have a heart disease, you place a new heart, and then that way humans are going to be able to defy death, they'll live hundreds of years, and so on and so forth. What's your perspective on that?
I mean, obviously that's, like I said, humans turning into partial cyborgs.
Right.
Is that possible or not? I have no idea. I'm not in the field, like I said. I'm not an expert on the field. But, there's two ways to look at it. One is, it is possible. And two, it's, I'm not sure if humans can defy death.
Mm-hmm.
They may be able to start living longer. That would be interesting to see. But in the end of the day, even with this whole COVID-19,
right.
We are so scared to even leave our home because of a small virus that can't even that can be seen with the naked eye.
Right.
So, at the same time, I feel like, there's this, I would say arrogance, in a sense that, we feel that we can become the new God. We
Right.
can become the gods of, and all those guys that are saying those things are considering themselves the gods of this.
Yeah, so that's what the philosophers are kind of insinuating. Yeah. Oh, humans will be immortals, basically.
Yeah, absolutely. And is that possible or not? I mean, immortal, no, absolutely.
Yeah.
At least according to religion, that's not possible. According to biblical, Quranic teachings, every human being will die.
Right.
So, however, other things are possible. Other suggestions made by scholars such as Yuval Harari or the likes, they are possible.
Right.
And for example, he says, amongst the things that he says and he believes in is, who you end up marrying will soon be determined by AI.
Right.
And he gives several examples. For example, the AI will know you better than your own mom knows you.
Mm-hmm.
The AI will know you better than that you know yourself. So there are certain things about yourself which you don't know.
Right.
But AI knows because it detected that over the past 10 years about you. And then it starts helping you make decisions.
Mm-hmm.
If it's misused, it will guide you into making decisions for the benefit of a larger company or a political party or what have you. Or, in order for you to go through an ethnic cleansing, you no longer need to go into concentration camps, but all they need to do is do that through AI.
Right.
And suggest that you start marrying outside your community, and then soon enough, there's going to be a peaceful ethnic cleansing. So he says all those things, and I think they are possible. So he says that soon enough you will end up marrying the person that AI suggests you, and you will be happy with that person.
Right.
And you will end up living with that person peacefully and happily. It will also suggest to you where to live, how to live, what to eat, how to dress. Another thing that he suggests is, for example, how our emotional state, there are so many depressed people, sad people, lonely people around the world.
Right.
And, AI will know exactly what you feel and how you feel and who you are, like I said, better than you know yourself. So it determines now that you are in need of your need to become happier, right? So it literally, out of billions of songs, out of hundreds of millions of songs or soundtracks, it will choose that which makes you specifically feel better in that very moment. So your own recipe,
Right.
almost. And to your cousin or to your brother, it's going to be something else.
Right.
But then, we'll start being so controlled by it that basically we will be inseparable from it. It's going to be like the closest entity
Right.
to us human beings. Closer than our spouse, closer than our parents, closer than our friends.
Yeah.
It's going to be our shadow. And we're going to be dependent on it all the time. Now, is that going to be constructive or destructive? Like Elon Musk says that by the year 2045, I think, human beings will start the process of a partial cyborgs.
Right.
They'll turn into cyborg engineering. So if that starts in 2045 and 20 years later,
2100 or something,
you will have
a new species maybe.
Yeah.
This, what you were talking about reminds me how AI basically concocts these recipes of, for example, you just went through a breakup or you got in a fight at a coffee shop or whatever, and it recommends you a song. We could see this firsthand on YouTube, like you go on your YouTube recommended and it's a video of a cat making a smoothie or something, and you're like, why was I recommended this? And like the title is in Russian, it's not even English, so you wouldn't be able to search it. You're like, why am I recommended this? It's obviously produced by the YouTube algorithm. And 9 times out of 10, you watch the video, no matter how random it is, you watch it and you enjoy it, right? So that's something to think about. I always click on random videos before I sleep, or like when I'm just on my free time. I'll click on a random recommended video, and in the comments, it's always, why was I recommended this? Why was I recommended this? Or, for example, it's a video from like 12 years ago, and you're just seeing it now, and it's now just getting millions of hits.
But they're saying that this will all become better.
Right.
So they're not in a hurry. I mean, they're basically, they know that it's going to get better, where you will no longer be asking that. You will no longer be like, why am I being recommended this?
Yeah, you'll just know.
You will just love it, and you'll say,
Yeah.
thank you for recommending this to me.
Right.
That's where it's getting to.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about this more in our next episode, or the one after that, the one about billionaires. So Amazon originally started as like a cloud company. They were cloud storage company where they stored data. So philosophers and people like Yuval Harari basically say the way that they were able to reach $1 trillion company in the new era is by using people's data. So it's not because they sold more than the other guy. It's because they were able to sell data to other companies. So that's also something to think about. After, we've talked about this, I hope we've given people few sides to think about, what could go wrong if it's not regulated.
Especially the younger folks,
Yeah.
inshallah, people who are watching. I'm sure a lot of people end up watching with their family, young kids, teenagers. They need to understand the impact of AI into their lives.
Mm-hmm.
They need to be very careful. Not to leave their information, and not to basically put themselves in a bad situation.
Yeah. Yeah, because you may not realize it, but AI is in every application or website or anything you visit. So
Absolutely.
you should put your information out there scarcely, especially like your height, weight, bio data.
Yeah.
Should not be put out at all. So after we've talked about these points, let's talk about the Islamic perspective. I'm not asking, like you said earlier, whether it's haram or halal, but obviously in some instances we could say it could be. So let's talk about that.
Yeah, obviously. So whenever it's used for the purpose of helping human beings and helping humanity, then it is good. And if it's used in any other way, then it is bad. So we know that whatever is determined as good by reason, by intellect, by human beings, then Islam says it is halal, it is good. And whatever is considered bad according to intellect or human intellect or reasoning, then Islam says it's bad and it becomes haram.
Right.
And for example, the scholars, the ulama, they have said, you don't need religion to come and tell you rape is haram, or murder is haram, or lying is haram. And that is the biggest difference in the two philosophical schools of thought within Islam, the Ash'arites and the Mu'tazilites. The Ash'arites are the ones that tell you that an act in itself isn't good or bad. An act is good once religion tells you it's good, and an act is bad once religion tells you it's bad.
Right.
So murder in itself isn't good or bad. When religion tells you murder is bad, then you say it's bad and it becomes haram.
I see.
Theft is not bad in itself. When religion tells you it's bad, then it becomes bad and it becomes haram. And the religion, therefore, then regulates the type of laws. So it says this type of murder is good, this type of murder is bad. This type of, for example, rape is good, this type of rape is bad. That is a take that the Ash'arites have, a philosophical school within Islam. However, by the way, you know, it would be interesting for people to understand that, you know, some scholars until today are Ash'arites, and some schools of thought are predominantly Ash'arites, and that is why you find that they have fundamental differences with other schools of thought. And then there's the Mu'tazilites that tell you no, acts and their innate nature, how God created this universe and the nature of things, He made them good or bad. And a human being, without even having to be told, within his innate nature knows that rape is bad, murder is bad, lying is bad, backbiting is bad.
Right.
Doing good is, helping poor people is good. Feeding the homeless is good. Helping your neighbor is good. Being kind to your parents and your family is good. A human being in his innate nature knows those things. Religion comes and re-emphasizes, reminds us of those things that are within us. And that is the Mu'tazilite school. So, in a sense, when we come to this, and in a sense, if we then understand that, this usage is good, then religion says it's good.
Right.
If we understand that this usage is bad, then religion will tell us it's bad as well. We don't always have to know the exact law that's written in detail for us to determine what is haram and halal.
Right.
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala within the Holy Quran has given us the ground rules.
Right.
And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has basically described to us many laws, many regulations. From those laws and regulations, we are then able to determine the rest of the way that we want to live our life and the decisions that we make.
Right. So basically it just falls on the ethics. If we use it in an ethical way, there's no problem. But if it's an unethical way, then that's a no-no. We basically talked about everything. We'll try to take a few questions. I know in the comments we had a question about how jobs might be altered. Certain people might lose their jobs as AI develops more and robots start to take over. And we'll try to take a few questions in the comment section as well, because we have pretty ample time this session. So if there's no questions within the
This is I would say this is too confusing to find comments from here.
Right. There was a question on the actual.
Yeah, so I'm not sure if you looked at anything. I didn't have time.
Yeah, so one of them said that. One of the questions said like, how will AI basically alter jobs? You know, will people lose their jobs as AI progresses? Will robots start to take over certain jobs?
Absolutely, yeah.
And
it's like the Industrial Revolution.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of jobs that were done, a lot of things that were done by human beings are now done by machines.
Yeah.
But that does not mean that everybody will be jobless. I think new jobs will be developed. I think that another important question to tackle, and I think this was also mentioned, is will we be allowed to take jobs that are using AI, for example, to collect data and all the things that we just described?
Right.
In the end of the day, I think it's a very detailed discussion that will have to come later, inshallah, in a follow-up. And the reason why we are really suggesting those topics and we're talking about them is to encourage our community to talk about new topics, to discuss new things, relevant things that are happening in people's lives. So we need an entire discussion in a completely different setting on the fiqh of AI.
Right.
What is haram, what is halal, what kind of business will be allowed, what kind of business will not be allowed, what is considered spying, what is considered theft, what is considered all those things in the world of AI.
Right.
However, if you are working for a spying company, then literally everything they do is not going to be good. They're spying on people. Or if you're working for a political party that's using AI to change people or brainwash people or the likes, then those are areas that you have to avoid. But however, if you're just a person in a company that has 1,000 employees, and amongst this company's job, amongst their vision and their mission is to collect data on people, let's say in a 5-mile radius, to be able to sell them stuff, to be able to determine what they need, and you're somebody in that company that's just doing sales or services or answering calls or emails or whatever you may be, or you could be a manager there. It doesn't matter.
Right.
That job should be allowed because that's just that's how human beings are evolving. That's how our life has been evolving.
Right.
However, if you're the guy that's creating an app so that this camera on the phone can turn on by itself and start spying on us or take videos from our home, then that is something that you should avoid and stay away from.
Yeah. There was another question that asked, will it be allowed for us to basically alter our body, like, place a chip inside our body, or I don't like the arm I have, I want a new cyber arm that has 4 attached arms to it, makes me have super strength, I don't know, things like that. Will we be allowed to alter our body in that nature?
Some alteration to the body and some changes are allowed.
Mm-hmm.
And some are not allowed.
These are permanent changes, though.
Yeah.
You can't take this back.
Yeah, that's fine. It's some permanent changes are also allowed. For example, to change a gender.
Right.
As the scholars have discussed this in detail, that are you allowed to change your gender, and in what circumstances you're allowed to change your gender, and what is the reason, and then if you change it, can you change it back? Those are all discussions that have happened among scholars. Then some scholars will not even allow you to do a nose job, versus others will tell you yes, you can. And you can do many other things to your body. Right. So I think that this discussion belongs to that particular setup and that particular setting, but to basically not leave the question unanswered, for you to have a robot eye or a robot hand or a cyborg leg so that the arba'in walk when we go we
Won't
just
be tired.
we won't be tired. We'll just
Yeah.
keep on walking. I don't see why it should be wrong or why it should not be allowed. However, that's a discussion that needs to be discussed by scholars, and then we will look at their work and we will then be able to bring that and
Definitely won't be cheap.
you never know.
You're paying.
You might be able to pick up a
And
pair from Walmart
buy-
for $20.99.
Yeah, that's gonna have to be years down the line once it gets heavily
Once the economy with China starts
rebooting.
again.
Yeah,
You never know. They might even have them ready by now.
could be.
Yeah.
We just have to wait and see.
I think we should make a special dua on this evening and conclude
Inshallah.
the session today. It's a day that we are commemorating the martyrdom of Amir al-Mu'mineen, al-Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib salawatullahi alayhi. I offer my condolences to all the Muslims all around the world and the lovers of Amir al-Mu'mineen, al-Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib. And also it is the eve of Laylat al-Qadr. So make sure that you spend this evening in dua and in supplication and contemplating on your future, on the next year, on the past, and you make the best decisions for yourself, and you make dua for everybody, all the communities, all the families, all the nations, all the people who are in need of your dua. And I also ask you for your dua. May Allah bless you. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Thank you everyone for joining us. Thank you for your support. Please don't forget us in your dua, and Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.